worst nightmare I've ever had in my life took me completely by surprise and was brought on by this book, Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. This is the first Dostoevsky novel I ever finished, and at first it was a little boring to me. There's a long conversation that happens within the first 50 pages or so, and for a little while I was wondering if I was going to finish reading it. But the inciting incident of the novel takes place, about 80 or 90 pages in. I'm not exactly sure what the mark is, but it is the way that Dostoevsky describes things that go on in your mind, especially dark things, that can really get to you. And so after I read what is the inciting incident of the novel, and if you don't know much about Crime and Punishment, there's a crime, and then the rest of the novel is essentially the various punishments that the main character, Raskolnikov, must undergo, and most of them are psychological, and most of them are unexpected. Sort of like the nightmare that I had. So he thinks that he can get away with killing someone, and so he does, and then he finds that he's essentially in purgatory. After reading about the murder that happens at the beginning of this novel, I had not only the first dream that I'd remembered in months, but one of the worst nightmares of my entire life. It's the only time I've ever woken up in the middle of the night, completely unable to move, completely scared, absolutely bewildered as to where I am and what my life is about, where I'm going. All that I was convinced of was that I had murdered someone that I loved, and that all of her friends, all of my family, all of her family had turned against me, and I had no one left. So this novel is not very light or entertaining, but what I will say in its defense is that it's one of the most powerful novels ever written, and the experience of going through it will inevitably allow for a good bit of healing for you and also shift your perspective a bit. But as to the exact impact of what this novel might have on you, I cannot speak. The main thing that I realized after I was able to eventually go back to sleep and then consider what had happened to me that night after I read about the murder, I realized that I had just never considered a crime that dark, that close up, and for that long before, and that was what had such a great impact on me. It's very different reading about something that you might see on some sort of crime show, especially when it's written by one of the greatest writers to ever live. So would I recommend this novel? Yes, but not if what you're looking for is entertainment. Definitely consider this one a bit of an achievement to finish. It's akin to running some sort of long distance race. This is still the only Dostoevsky novel that I've finished cover to cover, but I will very likely be revisiting The Idiot pretty soon, which I read about 150 pages of and fell off for a reason that I can't remember at this point because it was years ago. And also on my list is The Brothers Karamazov. If you got something out of this video, consider subscribing. If you're already subscribed, thank you. Welcome back. Glad you're here. Happy reading.